Hi everybody, this is Dr. Albert Snow, Holistic Gastroenterologist. Today we're going to talk about food allergies and tolerances. I'm going to tell you a bunch of stuff you never heard before. And I'm not even going to talk about specific foods. I'm not going to talk about the way you used to hearing about it. I just came off an appointment with a family that they asked a question about what about food allergies. And here's how the conversation usually goes with everybody. They're trying to find out why their gut hurts. They're trying to figure out why they're bleeding from the butt and all that. And somebody says, oh, you need a food allergy test. And that's when the BS sign should go up. None of these people know what they're talking about. Here's the story with that. You get a test, you know how it is, and it says, boy, you're allergic to Brazil nuts and Moroccan figs, and they got you can't have pumpkin seeds from Tanzania. It's like, what? I never eat these things. How can you tell me I'm allergic to that if I've never even eaten it? It's a bunch of BS. What I do with those is I take the report. I say, can you send it to me, please? Send me. I take it up and I crunch it up like a little basketball, and I shoot it over in the corner into the wastebasket, a bank shot right off the wall, and that's where it belongs. The test I go by is when this girl's name was Samantha. I go by the Samantha test. I go by the dentist test. What's that mean? I go by what your body's telling me. I don't need a test to determine. That's what happens. These younger, I'm 69. I don't know what's going on with these people. The younger people that went to school didn't get the same education I did. They need to do a report to find out what you're allergic to. Really? So then, these reports from the Smoky Mountain, all these other companies that do this testing, then, who's going to interpret it? And hand it to the consumer. They don't know what they're looking at a graph. Here's the deal, is that when you eat something, you have to have some software in your gut. That's the mucosal lining, the software. I'm on my computer, A, B, C, D. I type in something, and each letter has a code. The software recognizes that code is an L. Oh, that's an F, that's a P, that's a Q, right? It interprets the code. So it puts together a sentence, digests it, sends out an email to you. Okay? So you also have a phone, same thing. You also have a stomach. The stomach has software in it, supposedly. It should have the software. And when you download information in the form of food, in that food there's vitamin A, vitamin B, vitamin C, there's some kind of strange mold in it, there's a chemical preservative, there's all kinds of stuff in there. Well, those all have their own code. And the computer software, remember the hardware is the physical wall of the bowel and the stomach. Okay, most of you have a problem with that, people who come to see me. But there's a software issue too. The software is the mucosal lining, the beneficial bacteria. It's more than just bacteria, but you get the gist. That's the software. And when you swallow things, the software is supposed to do what the computer software does. Recognizes the code, oh, you're a banana, and it even recognizes how much and how well chewed. That's how sophisticated the stuff is, that you don't have to worry about it. It sends a signal over to the parietal cells, which live on the wall of the gut. They release the acids that are needed. Oh, you need the combination of this one. She had a tuna fish sandwich, and she also had a hot fudge sundae. Oh, and then she was chewing bubble gum, and she had a beer. Right, quite a combination. It doesn't care. It doesn't matter, because it sees the code of everything. Oh, by the way, she breathed in some germs. Oh, by the way, that food that has salmonella. Your mucosal lining software should pick all that up. You and I share a sandwich. It's tainted. You're going to get sick. I'm not, because I have the software updated. So anytime you've ever had an antibiotic, it starts to drain the software out. It kills off the bacteria that makes the drain. It's the only drug anywhere that removes part of your anatomy when you take it and it leaves your body. It's the only drug. Removes the mucosal lining bit by bit. That means you're losing your software. It's like me coming over and say, excuse me, I'm going to take a piece of your software or your computer. Don't worry about it. If you aren't able to interpret, like, this is what happens. People say to me, I'm okay as long as I don't eat pineapple, I don't eat cherries, I don't eat mushrooms, as long as I don't eat McDonald's food, as long as I don't, and I go, wow, it's a lot of things. That's like you have your keyboard. I'm okay, I can write emails, but I can't use the G, and I can't use E, and M sometimes works and it doesn't. I don't bother with it. I do an N, look kind of like an M, and then, I say, wow, you're doing really great. You must have a fun time sending emails. And then when they tell you, okay, you can't have these things, they don't tell you what to do about it. They tell you got to live with it. Just avoid them. Have you ever had anybody do a test that you know of or yourself, but they said, here you go, here's how you fix it? No, they don't know about the software. The software is the network of beneficial bacteria that are way smarter than us. Believe it or not, I don't think anyone's ever said that before. The mucosal lining made up of the probiotic is way smarter than us, way more advanced, way more evolved. And you put a colony in there. When do we get the colony, by the way? How do we get that? Nursing. Our mother's nurses, we pop out of the factory. Oh, here we go. We have a nice Mac computer here. We got to put the software in there. How do we do that? Nursing. Boom. You get all these strains of bacteria. We put in the colostrum in there. You got their operating system set up. Boom. Let's just send it out there in the world. Okay. Without that, you don't install the software. Then you have a child that's colicky, a child that can't digest things, is always sick because it's also part of the immune system. Okay, that's why it's valuable to nurse your child. That's where you get it originally. But then we start beating it down. Let's take an antibiotic for this. Yes, I love them. I love antibiotics. I love them. I'll cut in line if I need to get them. If I'm sick, they're a double-edged sword. You need them, but then you need to know what to do afterwards. Otherwise, they'll mess you up. My guess, CVS would certainly know. My guess is that at least half of the trips to CVS on the weekend trip, are for things that were caused by the antibiotic. It opens up Pandora's box. And so food allergies. So you're allergic to cantaloupe and all that stuff. You shouldn't be allergic to any of that. Here's why. Here's the difference. And here's why when people say, well, dairy, gluten, right? Sometimes soy. Why is it always those guys? I never hear anybody say peas. It's because most foods are simple. They're just a carbohydrate, or they're just a protein, or just a fat. And if they have any combination, it's minor. It's mostly protein, a little bit of fat. But the dairy and wheat contain all three in one package. So if your software is already compromised, maybe you never got it. Already compromised, and you're not identifying. That's the software is supposed to identify. Oh, your carbohydrate, your fat. It needs to do more computation power, more motion with the internal software that it can't do because you've stolen some of it. It's been stolen by the antibiotic, and now the thing that would make the most sense that you would be unable to identify would be the complex things. Complex things. People say, oh, what about meat? Not really. Here goes as always. When you are recording something, the phone always rings. It's a universal rule. It's always the one that's, what's this one? Let's tell you what this is. Some kind of bullshit. It's someone trying to sell me a carpet or something. So, yeah, there you go. No message there, buddy. I'm wearing a rug. That's just life with me. Yeah, David, you called me 3 times. That's the recording. Sorry, buddy. Sorry about all this. David, you're recording. So,
are you there?
No, I'm not. How come I can't hang you up, buddy? You gone now? Okay. Yeah, you've been through it, right? So as I was going on about the complex foods, they contain protein, carbohydrate, and fat in one package. Soy to a lesser degree, dairy and gluten. All you people around there are saying, I'm gluten intolerant, that's it, no more gluten. Lactose intolerant. You know what? You're living a life you don't have to. What we do is repair the software. You have to know how to do it. You can't just swallow a probiotic and say, hey, I'm taking probiotics. You have to have the right strains. Okay, the right strains are the ones that live in the gut. There's probiotic bacteria. If they had some kind of, I don't know, they probably do some kind of camera thing that could show you, like a black light, show you the parts of you that are probiotic and the parts of you that are protein, muscle and things. You're mostly bacteria. Okay? It would all be like green. What's all that green stuff? Well, that's you. That's bacteria. But what you are actually is a bunch of bacteria that has pulled together a bunch of proteins and fats and stuff and built a body out of it. And to get a little bit esoteric, it is true, the bacteria runs the show. It has its own agenda. It pulled you together to get where it wants to go. So when we start hitting it with antibiotics, it drains the intelligence out. And the body, with just some stuff pulled together by the intelligent bacteria, it starts to break down because it's got no intelligence saying what to do. Every cell has a software. And so you need the probiotic that fills the gut, that lives in the gut, There's certain strains. Where did we get this originally? Okay, out of the breast comes something called colostrum. Colostrum, yeah. Well, why is that important? Well, it's important because nature said it is. Now, after baby's born, after breathing, okay, that's number one. Number two, out of all the things that could be done in your life, number two is colostrum. A woman starts to nurse her child. First thing comes out of the breast is colostrum. That's a massive discovery when you figure out of all the things, that's it. Number two, after breathing. Why is that important? Because it puts a layer of sticky stuff all through the baby's stomach. Colostrum, colostrum, colostrum. Okay, I was told a story a lot of times. I was when I first opened my office, I had everyone was coming in like sick with Crohn's, and we weren't taught about that in school. Crohn's, it was a new phenomenon, all that stuff. I closed my office right down and said, I got to go figure this out. I'm tired of sitting here with crying people. I got to figure out the answer. So I'm sitting on, I found myself sitting on a stone wall, watching on a farm, watching whatever they call her, mother cow, all right, feeding her baby. And so I said, farmer comes over. I thought he was going to yell at me. He goes, how you doing? He got this old German guy. He's the whole thing out of Central Casting with the farmer jeans on, weird hat, smoking a stogie. He goes, what are you doing? I said, I'm just hanging out watching the cows. What are they doing over there? What's the big deal? So this is him. I'm trying to imitate him. He goes, he's getting the colostrum. I go, what, colostrum? He goes, yeah, the colostrum. I go, you saying colostrum? He goes, colostrum. I go, what is it? He said, I don't know, but they love it. They all go for it every time. So colostrum. Yeah, so that's the first I heard of it. So I thought there's something there, but he was a crazy guy. So I carried that with me. I said colostrum. So it turns out that that's the single most important event of your life. When you get it from your mother. If you didn't get it, like if you were born when I was born in the 50s, women were told, get rid of that. That's old-fashioned. Go out and work and buy some formula. Okay? That's what they were told, and we didn't get it. Have a whole generation that didn't get it. And so just what happens when the use of antibiotics exploded, because we didn't have an immune system. Because the immune system is the stuff that identifies the germs, as well as the foods. You can have a scratch test or whatever they give you, however they do it, that's going to show you equally germs, because the immune system, the software, the digestion, doesn't care. Doesn't care if it's a germ or if it's food. It just looks at all as the same thing, because each thing has its own molecular structure. So it says, oh, we know who you are. You're Clostridium. You're, some germ. We know who you are. And then while it's talking to you, it's sending a signal to the perioral cells to release the right acid to digest the germ. And so when that's removed and you never got it, you don't have an immune system. You don't have the ability to identify things. So it's always come down to dairy and gluten, and everybody says, "No, not eating that." There's books written about the poison of it. It shouldn't be eating it. Humans shouldn't, all this stuff. And they did research, and they didn't start to domesticate animals, and then the wheat was, all that. It's only a crop that's only been around for 10,000 years versus 50. P.S. Lectins. Anyone know about lectins? What you do is you just update the software, probiotic and colostrum. Have to have the right probiotic that has the strains that are indigenous to the gut. And here's the real kicker. You ask the companies that manufacture it, they don't know shit. They're just making a probiotic. They don't know anything about what we're doing. So, and then you got the distributors. They just might as well be kegs of beer. This stuff needs to be refrigerated, and they're not even refrigerating it. So you go in the store saying, give me some of that good stuff. And they go, what's the good stuff? They just hand you something. You say, okay. And here's the deal. You need that probiotic for the software to stick and live in the bowel. Right now, without the colostrum, it goes in the toilet. So there's probably 1 billion people on the planet now taking probiotics, and none of them are getting any relief, because the toilet doesn't have IBS, Colitis, and Crohn's, because it's getting all the good stuff. Well, you need to have colostrum present. And then here comes the breast milk. The child is born, is the colostrum. After 24 hours, there's enough of that. Comes in with the breast milk, and mom doesn't have any idea. She doesn't need to know. And if some people were, to really, you press them, they say, oh, I think there's protein and fat in there, right? No, there's probiotics, and they come in the right strains. I think of the constellations. Every time you look up, they're always configured the same, certain, length from each other. Or even a spider's web. Snowflake, how's that one? You look at the crystalline nature of it. Wow, look at the precision. That's how probiotics are supposed to come into your body. Not haphazard like some guy named Sal who worked for one of the vitamin companies said, Sal, go put together some probiotics. Put together some probiotics? How about take the ones that are already put together by the master? Okay? So then if you have colostrum present, it gloms onto that, becomes what's called residential. That's the key word, residential. What's that mean? It lives there. Okay, it lives there, and what's it do? It stays there, and it does two things. It blocks the acids, which without it, you'll have holes in your gut, and they'll tell you have Crohn's, or they'll guess and say colitis. And so I had one patient today was identified by the same doctor as 3 different conditions at different times. No, you now have IBS. Oh, really? That's all impossible. So we when we stock up on the right probiotic, it goes in there, it lives there, and stays there, and does all the things we want. You know, there isn't any more to it. This whole thing, don't have a food test, allergy test. I mean, really, it's wrong on so many levels. What you want to do, whether you think your software is low or not, you need to rejuvenate. Okay, you need to take the right probiotic. You need to take colostrum, and you know, it drives me crazy when you have people say, "Well, I took a probiotic for a year." I said, "A year? Did anyone tell you about colostrum?" No. Okay. Well, you didn't take a probiotic then. You took some white powder, but it didn't get to stick around your system and help you. So that's the story with food allergy tests. I just had some people say the people didn't aggravate me. The situation was, it aggravated me because these people were desperately looking for something for their daughter. Okay? And they were led down that road. Somebody made 55 quick bucks on them. Probably way more than that. And it's all over the internet. There's nothing on the internet about inflammatory bowel conditions that has any value. Unless it was written by me. I'm smarter than the internet. Well, in one category. Because I am the one who discovered, I broke the code. I invented holistic gastroenterology. There was no such thing, and I only know of one person that practices it. I didn't say it very well, did I? Most everything I say you never heard before. But there's beginning to be plagiarism, people seeing what I got, which is always going to happen. But there's only one system that will cure this, the GI Cure protocol that I invented. You know, go to, www.holisticgastroenterology or www.gicure. I'm not really into promoting myself because I really can't. I have too many patients. I can't take on another person, really, but I like to help people, and maybe you'll see. I wrote a little book. You'll see it on there. Here's the deal. Forget the tests. If you have a question about something like that, call me, and I'll take care of you. And otherwise, restock up on your probiotic and colostrum, and watch that problem go away. You know, it does a lot more. I mean, you want to lower your cholesterol? Do the same thing. What else can I tell you? You have a prostate that's out of control? Do the same thing. How about allergies? Sinus problems? Do the same thing. You put that stuff in your body, and it's going to help the stomach, but it's going to go out to every single cell. Every cell needs to be driven by the what did I say it was? The software. I'm getting ahead of myself. The software runs every cell. So you're loading yourself with intelligence. Now when something shows up and actually get digested and used, are you tired? That's because you're not finishing out the last stage of digestion inside the cell. You took some antibiotics that sucked it right out. Like Roto-Rooter. Where'd it go? Well, the antibiotic is the only drug anywhere that takes your anatomy out with it. When you take it, it's the only thing that takes a piece of your anatomy. It takes away your software, your probiotic. And then you're not told to put it back. That nice pharmacist, they hand you the bag, they don't know shit about this. They only know what they were taught in school. And it doesn't tell you nearly enough. That's why you have to keep going back. Keep going back. You make friends that you met at the pharmacy. I walked into CVS one day for something. I was blown away by the activity, conveyor belt activity behind the counter. I was like, wow. And this is a little pharmacy in a little town, CVS. I said, imagine New York City. I mean, they are cranking this stuff out. Here's a tip. Replace the software. Get rid of food allergies. And at the same time, you'll repair your IBS, colitis, and Crohn's. You might need a little help from me, but that's the start. That's the foundation. Okay, good luck.